basically the movement that popularized the civil war in northern Uganda. You may have your own opinions about it, the scandal and whatnot, but you may be surprised to know that the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army, which is Joseph Kony's basically rebel group in Uganda that started the war, was pretty much diminished by 2010. And that news actually came as a relief to my family and friends when I told them that I wanted to go to northern Uganda for the summer. So since then, many NGOs have been finding and rehabilitating the children that were taken by the Lord's Resistance Army. These are children who spent anywhere from a couple weeks to 20 years, basically their whole lives, in the rebel camps. These children were taken from villages where the rebels would come, kill everyone except for the children, and take them to be their fighters. So while both young boys and young girls were forced to fight, they were forced to kill their friends and family. While in the camps, the conditions were horrible. They were often starving and just trying to find food, trying to stay alive. If they disobeyed the rebel commanders, they would be killed often by their friends that fought alongside them, and their friends would actually be forced to either eat their flesh or something else just awful. So these kids were subject to a lot. More than that, women were given to rebel commanders as basically gifts for doing well in war. They were forced to have their children repeatedly raped and treated like less than nothing. So I was actually able to work with 26 of these remarkable women while I was in Uganda. I quickly found out that returning to normal life is not so normal. It's actually very, very hard for these women. They often have kids that they were forced to have with these rebel leaders that they have to take care of, but no means to actually take care of them. They're often rejected by their family and their community when they come home because they still see them as rebels and blame them for what they've done, even though they were forced to. So, Child Boys, Child Boys, which is the organization I worked with, to send these women 20 at a time, or 26 when I was there at a time, through a 2-year training program. So they train them in basically everything they need to provide for themselves and for their children. So they take care of them while they're there, give them food and housing. They teach them saloon, which is their word for like salon. It's like cosmetology and hair. They teach them baking. They teach them life skills, literacy and numeracy, how to manage their money once they eventually do get a job or start a business. And most importantly, how to care for their children. So often these children, they kind of resent because of the reminder of their horrible past and how they came about. So they teach them how to bring up the next generation to rebuild Uganda. So while I was there, I actually worked with the counseling division. So while they're in the program, the 2-year program, they have nearly daily counseling, at least at the beginning, to kind of, heal them spiritually and emotionally. And so I tested them on executive function tests to help learn about how they learn and how they can improve their teaching methods. I was able to hear some of their remarkable stories while I was there, both heartbreaking and just overwhelming. The things that these women have been through, and yet they have the hugest, most gorgeous smiles and just an amazing capacity to love and to rebuild themselves, which I was just so inspired by. While I was there, I also got to see them when they initially came in. So they had come into the program. I said it was a 2-year program, so they had just come in about 2 weeks, I think, before I got there, and I was there for 3 months. So I got to see them come in just very, isolated and resentful and just not able to open up to anyone, and slowly grow into a group that they ended up, caring for each other's children and laughing and having inside jokes, and it was like a sorority almost. It was amazing to see that transformation over just a few months and to see what this organization is doing. Child Voice is empowering these women and enabling them to care for themselves. While Ugandans always, appreciate external aid, this is what's really needed to rebuild the country. They need the young people to feel empowered, to not have to rely on external aid, to not see themselves as useless. So that was really amazing to see. I just want to close with a few of my pictures from the summer. I have like endless ones to pick from, but these are just some of my favorites. I got to go out to the Makoti site daily, and I lived in Gulu, which is a little town in northern Uganda. It's actually often forgotten by the major city Kampala in the south because of all that happened there, and people still see it as dangerous, even though the rebels are pretty much out of there. So if you want to hear anything else about my experiences, my personal struggles, you can go ahead and check out my blog, creatively named Sammy in Uganda. And if you want to hear more about Child Voice, you can check out their website, which is also there. Thank you.